Hi everyone, and welcome to another video. In today's lesson we're going to learn how to make this chain bracelet. It is very easy and is a great beginner's project. So let's get started on the lesson. So what you're going to need is some scrap yarn or some yarn that you want to use. I'm going to be using Red Heart Super Saver in this beautiful aqua blue, and I've also got some leftover. This is the Aussie yarn, this is American yarn. I've got some leftover 8-ply, as you can see. It's not that much left, but will be enough to make this project. And I can actually show you guys what the difference is in our thickness of yarn. So the blue one is the Red Heart Super Saver, and the grey is the 8-ply Marvel. So there is a bit of a difference there, and especially when you make big projects, like when you make a hat and you use Super Saver, you need one less round than what I use when I use my 8-ply. So it can make a difference. And excuse like random blobs of colour. I've been experimenting with jelly. And that's jelly as in the stuff that you eat for dessert, that you mix with hot water. I don't know what the Americans call it. I think jelly to you goes on sandwiches, doesn't it? Like jam. But jelly to us here in Australia is a dessert. The coloured stuff that you use at kids' parties and stuff like that. That's what our jelly is. So, grabbing your yarn. Oh, also, you're going to need a button. I just got this black button that I've just had randomly in my stash. My button stash. So I'm just using a big one. This is probably about 1 inch across, and because we're using a couple of strands, you could even use 3 strands of yarn for this too if you wanted to. I'm going to be using a 8mm hook. I don't know if you can actually see the size. Here we go, 8mm hook. I'm not sure what that is in the American conversion. It's a big one. This is a size G. And this hook was supplied by Moonshadow Threads. It is so cute and really good to work with. So that's a G. Just thought I'd throw in that plug there. And that's the hook size I'm using, so you can see it's massive. So what we're going to do with our yarn is we're just going to use the chain stitch. So if you're beginning in crochet, so you've just started, this project is going to be great for you. We're not really going to use many stitches at all apart from the chain stitch. So yeehaw. So what we're going to do is grab our yarn. We're going to make our slip knot. Now there's hundreds of different ways probably to do this. This is how I do mine. I wrap it over my finger twice, holding onto the short pieces. Wrapping it over twice, I hold both pieces of yarn in my hand. I grab the left one and pull it off. Grab the main strand of yarn, wrap it around my finger again, and then move it over. I do it a lot faster than that, so it's easy for me to do that really quick. You know, there's so many different ways, like I said. So you do it how you feel comfortable. You don't have to do it the way I'm doing it. It's just the way I got taught, so that's the way I do it. So what we're going to do is a chain stitch. Now, if you don't know how to do a chain stitch, you're going to be holding the short piece of yarn down like this. Your long piece attached to your ball is over here, or on the other side if you're left-handed. You're going to get your hook and go underneath the yarn, and as you pull your chain through, you're going to twist your hook like that. Now there's also, you can crochet like this as well. I personally cannot do it that way. I feel like I really can't do it properly at all, so I don't do it that way. So grabbing your yarn with your hook, twisting it around, grabbing it with the edge of your hook there, and pulling it through the stitch that's on your hook. So grabbing your yarn, twisting it around and grabbing it and pulling it through. Now I'll put another video in for the chain stitch if you guys don't know how to do that. And all we're going to be doing is, now you can use 1 strand of yarn for this too, by the way. You can use as many as you like. We're just going to be chaining and chaining and chaining. Now how long do we make a chain? Well, how long's a piece of string? You make it as long as you want it. How wide do you want your bracelet to be? how chunky you want it, how thick you want it, is completely up to you. Now I'm going to probably just do about 1 metre, which is about 1 yard. Don't ask me that in inches. I'm not that good at maths. I know that 30 centimetres is 12 inches, so 3 times 12 is 90 centimetres, and there's 100 centimetres in a metre. Did that just confuse you? So we just chain. Just keep chaining, chaining. So we're just going to keep going. I'm not going to do the whole thing on video because I'm sure you're going to get bored with that. So just keep going until you think your chain is long enough. How do you know if it's long enough? Well, we're going to wrap it around our wrist and somehow attach it to your wrist and then wrap it around. And of course I cannot do this on camera because that'll be too perfect. And just keep wrapping it until you have it the width or how many rows that you want. Now this is quite thick, so I won't need as many. Using thinner yarn, you're going to use probably a lot more. So you decide how big and thick you want your bracelet, and then we'll catch up at the end when we've finished our chain. And the great thing about this project too is it's such a beginner project. If your chains aren't even, seriously, no one's going to notice. And if it's for yourself, you're going to be proud to wear this because you made it. Now what we want to do now is create a buttonhole. Depending on the size of your button is depending on how many chains you're going to skip. Now it's easy to work out. What we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch into one of these chains here. So I'm going to just guess and say that that is big enough for my button. It's going to be easy to undo if it's wrong. So what we're going to do, hang on, sorry guys, I need to zoom in a bit. Well, that's a lot. So grab your chain stitch here, we're going to slip stitch. So we're going to go into the chain. Because I've got 2 strands, I've got 2 loops. Ooh. We're going to grab our yarn, pull it through. You've got 2 loops, and then you're going to pull it through the loop that's on your hook. Then you're going to grab your button, which nicely blends into my background. And then you're going to put it through. Now I think that's a bit loose. See how easy that went through there? I think that's too loose, so I'm actually going to take that out. So if you need to make it looser or you need to make more, do so now. Now you've got this hole. Tra-la, it's gone. So I'm going to go just back 1 stitch. And slip stitch it. Whoa. Grabbing my button. You want a bit of, what do you call it? I don't know. You want it a little bit tight around the button. So there's a little bit of resistance. That's the word I'm looking for. A little bit of resistance there. I'm just going to try it 1 less. See if it makes any difference. Hopefully it doesn't make it too tight. So I'm going to go in there. Slip stitch. So as you can tell, it doesn't matter what button you've got, it's going to fit. You're going to make your buttonhole fit. So that's better. That's a bit more resistance. That's exactly what I want. What we're going to do, we're just going to slip stitch in the next stitch as well. And then we're going to pull through and pull through and then chain 1. So just do 1 chain, then you're going to cut your yarn off with your rusty scissors. Ew. They're not my normal scissors I have. I can't find my other ones. They've disappeared. So pull out your yarn like so. Then you are going to find, so I'm just pulling that tight. We're going to find our sewing needle. And mine I think is vacationing with my scissors because I cannot see it in my immediate vicinity. I'm going to go and find it and then we're going to sew it into our chain. So you're going to thread your yarn like so. And then we're going to sew our yarn tails back down into here. So I'm just going to weave it in and out of my chain, not putting in any certain position. I'm just randomly finding somewhere to weave it. want to go as much as you can. My general rule of thumb is sort of 2 inches that I try to weave in. So just pull that so it's not all bunched up. We're going to trim this, making sure we're trimming that and not our chains. Oh, they're nice and sharp, aren't they? And blunt as anything. Okay, so we have our buttonhole, and find the other end. And we are going to attach our button. And I'm going to attempt to thread this on camera. What are the odds, huh, of it working? Oh, that's 50%. So thread your yarn again on the other end of your chain. So this is why I do it off camera, because it makes me look hopeless. Alright, so we're in. Button, please. You're going to stitch this to your button. If you don't have a big enough yarn tail, just attach some more yarn to your end of your chain. So I just went through the chain there with my stitch, and then I'm going to go back through the chain with the needle and then back out through my button. Can you see that? It's a really bad colour, that background. Just going like so. And I'm almost out of yarn, so I didn't really calculate that very well, did I? It doesn't matter, we live and learn, don't we? We learn by our mistakes. But I'm going to have just enough to thread that through there. And I'm going to leave this, that's where my thread is, I'm going to leave that loop there. Thread my ends through that loop, so which creates a knot. Which would be a lot easier to do if you had more thread. And then now I can show you my trick when I have really short threads. And you know when you're trying to thread your needle but you can't because your threads are too short? Now this is what I do. Now I've got to fight this to thread it again. Oh, actually, first of all what we do, we put our needle where we need to go. So it doesn't matter what project you're working on. You weave it in and out. Then you thread your needle. Now I'm going to do one by one because they're actually different lengths now. Get out the way, Bluey. So thread one. And then thread the other. And now it's easy for me to thread them because my needle is really close to the yarn. And now you can pull through. And then pull on that to disguise your yarn. A little bit of a loose bit there. See, we can poke it in there. I'll fix that up after. So what we're going to do now is put our bracelet on. And how quick and easy was this project, hey? Talk about instant satisfaction. So let's see if we can zoom out. And I'm just going to move all those bits and pieces out of the way. So I'm just putting my button on my wrist and then just wrapping around. Now I'm sure there's all different ways. Oops, so I've got some yarn ends sticking out there. Trim them off a smidge. God, I really need to find those other scissors. These ones suck. Alrighty, so then wrap it around. find your button. So you can do this up various ways. You can wrap it various ways. Actually, I might try and wrap that one more because it's not tight enough. Isn't very tight on my wrist actually, so I can wrap that tighter. You gotta have like 3 arms, don't you? Try and do it up. There we go. So if you can come up with different ways to wrap it up, leave a video response in the box below because that'd be pretty cool. We can see how you do it. Let's see if we can make it lay a bit flatter into, like, in the crochet rather than sticking on the top. That's cool. I really like that. That looks really good. What an easy project, hey? Now, you can use any button colour combination that you like. You know, this would look really good with a black and white combination. You could change the the grey to a black. That'll look really cool because it'd all match. But I just literally used what I had in my stash. I found a big button and I just grabbed some yarn that I had left over. So a great practice piece as well if you're just learning. So thank you for watching my video. Make sure you completely rock your new bracelet that you just made. Make sure you check out our Facebook page and share your creations over there as well. And till we meet again, guys, happy crochet. See ya.